Hey everyone, I'm making this video for those of you preparing for your first powerlifting meet. You're probably gonna be
nervous as fuck.
So hopefully this video answers some of your questions, clears up any confusion, and maybe puts your mind at ease a little bit.
Test your strength abilities against your peers in wholesome competition. This film is an introduction to powerlifting.
Powerlifting is a sport in which the contested lifts are the squat, the bench press, and the deadlift. Not to be confused with Olympic weightlifting, which tests the snatch and the clean and jerk. Here in the United States, there are two popular federations, US APL and USPA. There are a few differences between the two, the main ones being the equipment used. One uses a squat bar, another uses a standard powerlifting bar. One uses a deadlift bar, another uses a standard powerlifting bar. One enforces drug tests, another doesn't. Although I think USPA has a tested federation now, but whatever, personally, I don't care. Plus some other small rules, like one lets you lift your head off the bench, another doesn't. One requires that your feet are flat on the ground during the bench press, another allows you to lift up your heels. Refer to your federation's website for a full list of rules. You are going to have to purchase a membership for your federation if you want to compete. Kind of like needing a Blockbuster card to rent movies. Remember those things? You will also need to fill out an entry form and pay the entry fee. When you fill out your entry form, you're gonna have to provide some information like your weight class in kilograms. The numbers for each weight class are the top limit of that weight class. So if you were 96 kilograms, you would be competing in the 105 kilo weight class because you are over the 93 kilo limit. You are also going to need to decide what events you'll be doing. Most likely full power or powerlifting, which means you want to test your squat, bench press, and deadlift. Other options include push-pull, which means you only want to test your bench press and deadlift, no squat. You can also do bench only or deadlift only. And you will also need to select your division, which again, for most of you, will probably be raw, which means you are allowed to wear a belt and neoprene knee sleeves. You don't have to, but you can if you choose to. You can also wear wrist wraps. Classic raw means you will wear a belt and knee wraps. Geared lifting means you're wearing a single ply or multi-ply squat suit, bench shirt, and or deadlift suit. I'm assuming if this is your first powerlifting meet, you're not doing this. All of these divisions are scored separately, so as a raw lifter, you will not be competing against someone wearing a squat suit. But again, if you're watching this, you probably don't need to know all this, but it might clear up some confusion at your first meet. Next, checking in. Some federations allow you to weigh in 24 hours in advance. Some federations only allow a 2-hour weigh-in. Everyone has to weigh in, even if you're 100 pounds over the heaviest weight class. Be prepared to strip down to your underwear when you weigh in, even if you are not trying to cut weight. Rules is rules. After stripping down, you will have to get your gear checked. Wait, that doesn't sound right. Your powerlifting gear, never mind. Anything you wear in a competition needs to be approved. This means knee sleeves, wrist wraps, your belt, a cotton t-shirt. Sometimes they want to check your underwear. You have to wear legless underwear, so briefs, whitey-tighties, granny panties. And you have to wear shoes of some kind. You can't lift barefoot. And the crowd favorite, you have to wear a singlet. After weighing in and getting your gear checked, you're gonna need to give your openers. First attempt squat, first attempt bench press, first attempt deadlift. This is gonna be in kilos, so for those of you in the United States, figure it out. You don't have to give your second attempts until after your first, and you don't have to give your third attempts until after your second. More on this later. Finally, you will have to give your rack height for the squat and the bench press. I prefer the bar to be about mid-sternum for the squat, so that when the bar is on my back in the low bar position, I only have to lock out my knees to clear the J-hooks. For the bench press, I set up to the bar so that my eyes are directly below the bar. And for me, I like the bar to be just below my wrist height when my arms are locked out, so that I only need to extend my elbows to clear the J-hooks. You have 3 attempts for each lift. Your best successful attempt will be the only attempt that counts towards your total. So if you successfully lift 100 kilos, 105 kilos, and 110 kilos, the 110 kilo attempt will be added to your total. If you fail 110 kilos, your 105 kilo attempt will be added to your total. Your 3 attempts for the squat are not added together towards your total. Only your best lift counts. Now, if you fail your second attempt, for example, you can choose to try again on your third attempt, or you can jump up in weight for your third. This does happen if people miss an attempt because of something other than strength, like not following commands. So if your best attempts were 150, 100, and 200, you would have a 450 kilo total. Adam Paul needs to work on his bench press. There are 3 judges for each lift, a head judge and 2 side judges. They are there to ensure you perform the movement within their rules and standards. Once the weight is loaded on the bar, you will hear, "Platform ready?" At which time a 60-second clock will start. You have 60 seconds to get under the bar and unrack it. Once you unrack the bar, you will step back and get set. When you are done moving and the bar is motionless, you will hear the command, "Squat." It's on you to squat down and stand back up. Once you have stood up and the bar is motionless, you will hear the command, "Rack." The judges are looking for a number of things when judging the squat, but most important is depth. Also, you can't move your feet, no downward motion of the bar, lock out at the start, lock out at the finish, kind of obvious stuff. If you have successfully performed the lift, you will receive 3 white lights. If a judge does not think you successfully completed the lift, he or she will give you a red light. 1 red light and 2 white lights is still a successful attempt. 2 red lights or 3 red lights is a missed lift. For the bench press, you will have 60 seconds to get set up and unrack the bar. Once your elbows are locked out and the bar is motionless, you will hear the command, "Start," at which time you can lower the bar to your chest. You have to pause the weight on your chest, and once the bar becomes motionless, not to be confused with just touching your chest, it has to become motionless, you will get the command, "Press," at which time you will press and lock the weight out. Once the bar is motionless at the top, you will get the command, "Rack." The judges are there to make sure your butt doesn't leave the bench. No downward motion of the bar, your feet don't move, you didn't jump the commands, stuff like that. And finally, the deadlift. The only command you will have to wait for is the down command at the top of the lift. The judges are making sure there is no downward motion of the bar before you get the down command. You're not hitching or ramping up your thighs. You lock out the weight, and you keep your hands on the bar as it returns to the floor. Some additional questions. How long will this thing take? Usually a long time, like all day, so don't make any plans. This is how most meets are organized. All of the lifters are divided up into flights. Flight A, Flight B, Flight C, Flight D. Most commonly, all of Flight A will take their first attempts, then their second attempts, then their third attempts. Then Flight A will rest while all of Flight B takes their first attempts, their second attempts, and their third attempts. Then Flight C and Flight D. Then on to bench following the same format. So if each flight takes, say, 45 minutes, that's going to be a little less than 2.5 hours between your squat and your bench press. Sometimes a promoter will have Flight A and Flight B compete in the morning and finish their entire meet by the afternoon. Then Flight C and D will start in the afternoon. This is kind of rare though. Sometimes 2 flights will compete on Saturday and 2 flights will compete on Sunday. Sometimes, if you're lucky, there will be 2 platforms going at once. Chances are it's going to be a long day. So sit down and relax between events. And bring food.
Ready to eat. I feel ready for a beer.
Bring some simple food that you normally eat on a typical day. Do not try something you have never eaten before. Don't try a new pre-workout for the first time. Plan ahead and bring some food so that you're not stuck eating someone else's Doritos and Sour Patch Kids or whatever people eat at meets. I usually pack a banana, a protein shake using protein powder that I'm already used to, a PB&J or some sort of meal replacement bar. I also like bringing some sort of caffeinated beverage. And no matter how hard it is, try your best to eat something for breakfast before the meet. A common question I get asked is, how strong do I need to be to compete in a powerlifting meet? If you can lift an empty barbell, you can compete. You get to pick your own weights, so there's no prerequisite strength required for competing. You can compete now. Next common question I get asked is, what should my openers be and how big a jump should I take? Generally, your opener should be 1 rep at RPE 8, something you could triple. Your second attempt could be around RPE 9, and your third attempt should be RPE 10 or a PR. I would suggest striving for a 9 for 9, not missing any lifts, even if that means leaving a little bit in the tank. You have to realize that this is your first meet, so anything is a meet PR. It's one thing to walk in your gym and warm up at your own pace and take heavy singles whenever you're ready, but it's another thing to perform at a meet where you have to put together a big squat, bench, and deadlift on the same day, a very long day. You're on the promoter's watch, not your own, so keep that in mind when deciding your game plan. I would encourage you to bring a friend or a training partner who understands powerlifting or just lifting in general. It's helpful to have someone let you know where you're at in the flights and when you're on deck. Otherwise, you're going to be bouncing back and forth between the platform and the warm-up room, trying to keep track of your order within the flight. And plus, who's going to record your Instagram videos? Lastly, do not cut weight.
Do not cut weight. Do not cut weight.
As a novice powerlifter, no matter how strong you are, you do not need to cut weight. But I want to drop some weight so I can beat everyone. You know what's a way cooler way of beating everyone? Just getting really strong. You already have a lot to worry about. Don't stress about making weight. Just show up, weigh in, and smash some PRs. That's it. Thanks for watching. Good luck at your meet. I'm sure I'll see you guys around at my next meet. And always remember, tread on time.
Come on, Luke, you gotta want it. Let's go, Luke. Come on, Luke.